see that since the year 2000, it's fallen about 21%. Now, some would regard this as an efficiency beneficial to us all as taxpayers. Others might regard it as presenting a problem, that things are being disregarded. So, and of course, the measure of that is the quality of county services, whether they're improving or diminishing over time. So then the question is, what is your assessment of this development, and how would you expect it to trend over the next 4 years if you are the county executive? And this question goes to Lena first.
In relationship to workforce, individuals who work in the county, live in the county, contribute to the county, to the quality of life of the county. So it is an important piece that we have individuals who work in the county, who make it work, so that the mental health issues that we talked about, that there won't be understaffing, so caseworkers can't address the issue, or so that in the social service building, public aid, when individuals make calls, 90% of the calls aren't answered. That's an issue. I believe that Milwaukee residents need to be listened to, and they need to be heard when they call on the county executive. I think the workforce development issue, really the underlying issue here is benefits and health care. And those are some of the issues that, frankly, we are going to really have to address. And we can look at the change that people have spoke about from the presidential election, that health care is a real issue. That doesn't just exist for this county. It exists for businesses, whether it's the auto industry or businesses across the board. So what I would say that the assessment of what I believe needs to happen is government is part of the infrastructure, building the infrastructure that makes for a strong county, a strong region, and growth. If we're not investing in our infrastructure, if we don't have individuals working in our workforce to invest in our infrastructure, then frankly, we're not going to be able to cut our way to prosperity. We're not going to be able to do that. So part of what I believe needs to happen to trend it differently is that we need to encourage some of the programs, frankly, that will help with getting youth involved, so that we can hopefully change the trend in what employers are saying as the disconnect. And the other piece is, frankly, we're going to have to get some of the expert individuals who have left the county to potentially come back, hopefully maybe, to provide some of their wisdom to help us to be able to bridge the gap that we're at now. I see.
A couple quick things. One, if you notice on that chart, the big drop-off was about 2002. That's because the wave of employees who went out to take advantage of the pension and sick leave benefits. Ever since then, we've had to account for that and try and use attrition as much as possible for not replacing all those positions, but finding other ways to do those. It does raise a larger question, though, and I believe long-term, in politics, not just at the county level, but at the state, at the local, and other levels, there's kind of this choice out there, this status quo mentality that says you have to dramatically raise taxes or dramatically cut core services. And I just think that's a false choice. I think any of you in the private sector, when you've got a gap between price and the quality of services, you don't up one or lower the other. You use innovation to try and bridge the gap. This is an area of workforce development, our partnerships, as well as expanding the use of our assets in three key areas that will help us control our property tax burden here in this county. At the same time, we take and expand the core services we provide in a way that people expect out of county government. I'll give you two quick examples. We pushed this in the past, and I'm going to keep pushing it again. Last year, I asked for our park system to help us find money to balance the budget. But by the same token, I told our parks director I didn't want to close pools, I didn't want to cut parks, I didn't want to do things that took away from that rich, vibrant asset that we have called the Milwaukee County Park System. So Sue Black, our parks director, came back with a plan that said, we've got entry-level positions, not skilled trades, not forestry workers, entry-level positions that mow the grass, take out the garbage, and do those sorts of things. And she said, why do we pay them year-round? We should move to a seasonal workforce for those entry-level positions, hire them in the spring and the summer when we actually use the park system. By doing that, not only did we save $3 million, we actually added nearly 20,000 more hours of work in the park system. I'd like to take that a step further and look to other opportunities to contract for services so we don't carry that big French load, and instead decide, are we going to be an employment service or are we going to be a provider of core services? I want to provide those core services.
But what do you think that should be the role of Milwaukee County government in economic and workforce development, and how would you work to fulfill that role? First up on this one is Scott Walker.
Well, there's a couple different components. I don't think one single layer of government can be the be-all and end-all on a subject like this. We've got to work with the city of Milwaukee, the 18 other municipalities. We certainly got to work with all the school districts, not just MPS, but all the other school districts within Milwaukee County. We've got to encourage things like charter and choice schools to continue to blossom and expand here in Milwaukee County to give an opportunity to prepare that workforce. And we've got a huge challenge on the horizon far beyond county government with the wave of baby boomers who are at or close to retirement. And as we do that, we've got great opportunity, particularly in pockets of Milwaukee that have high levels of unemployment. We've got an opportunity to put those people to work if they're prepared and equipped with the tools they need to perform those jobs. We, just as an example, one thing that was included in our budget from Supervisor Beth Cox-Jones and Michael Mayo, the chairman, was an item to focus specifically on workforce development for African American men within Milwaukee County. We're moving forward with that task force in partnership with the county board to try and expand it. We look at other areas where we have partnership with some of the social service programs that we run. We started through a private foundation program called LTC, Let's Take Care. And in addition to talking about long-term care options, one of the key components of that was a focus on providing the kind of care and retention efforts we need to keep people in the long-term care profession and to give them and get them prepared and equipped to not just be there, but to do so with a high level of skill and performance so that our older adults in this community are cared for in the right way. Those are all components of where Milwaukee County can play a key role in workforce development. We're going to continue to work with the city and with other government entities to make that possible in the future.
Workforce, you know, Milwaukee County has a municipality that has 4 times the unemployment rate of the rest of the state. And because of that, this county lost workforce development, and it went to the city. And there's no question that the mismanagement, the putting our head in the sand to the issue is something that happened for some time. If we're going to move this region forward, we need to make sure that that disconnect that employers tell me about between we have jobs, but we don't have individuals who are prepared and skilled to take those jobs, that we're able to address those issues. We need to think innovatively, out of the box. You know, where was the county on the issue of driver's license and the effect that it has on employment? I champion that issue with State Representative Tamara Grigsby and others in the legislature so that we can begin to address those concerns. I've worked with the technical colleges and tax credits that will potentially help businesses so that we can see what the need is in the business industry and make sure that the workforce is getting trained for that need. I'm excited that we're moving forward with some very small pilots at the county level, but this has to be thought about regionally. This has to be thought about in conjunction with relationships and intergovernmental relationships with, for example, the mayor. And, you know, frankly, we've not been able to move forward in those areas. I'm excited because I bring some skills to the table where we've already done some of that at the state level and some innovative things that they've done with the Department of Transportation and others that I believe will be able to help us at the county level. And I want to bring my skills and my leadership to the table and take us there.